Hello, and welcome to Academy Unscripted. My name is Kathryn Christopher. I'm the Manager of Science Communication and Outreach at the Academy of Natural Sciences, and I'm here with my colleague Jordan Teisher, the Botany Collection Manager at the Academy. Hey, Jordan.
Hi, Kathryn. How's it going?
How are you?
Great.
So Jordan and I have a similar interest in plants. His is a little more professional than mine is, but I actually started at the Academy as a volunteer in the botany department. Then I moved on to a position in water research and so forth and so on. And so my knowledge of the collections is very limited, and Jordan and I didn't cross paths at all when I was working up there. And so I'm actually interested to know a little bit more about what your day-to-day is as a collection manager.
Every day is a little bit different. Managing collections, you're usually responding to things coming up rather than necessarily being able to carry out your plan. You make a lot of plans and then they all get put on the back burner while you handle something that comes up that's more pressing. We have a great group of volunteers who help us with a lot of our specimen processing, like what you worked on. And then aside from that, anytime we get a loan request in that somebody wants to see some specimens for research, I process those, give tours to people who would like to do tours, do repairs on specimens that are damaged, update classification in the collection, file specimens away. It's a pretty wide range of activities.
How many specimens are in the Academy's herbarium?
About 1.5 million, which is why I have so many projects on the back burner. It's a lot of plants to take care of. But that includes plants and algae and fungi and lichens, slime molds, things that in the 1800s they thought of as plants, but now we know are not necessarily closely related to plants.
What kind of research are Academy scientists doing with this?
The focus of the collection is on the mid-Atlantic region, mostly vascular plants. That's the bulk of those 1.5 million. It's probably about a third of the 1.5 million. So a lot of the research that gets done in general is on plants of Pennsylvania and the surrounding states.
In my brief time as a volunteer in the botany department before I started another position at the Academy, I hadn't really gotten a chance to see too much of the collections, but one of the women that I worked with did me a favor by showing me what I think is an amazing thing that the Academy has, which is Lewis and Clark's plants. And her showing me that collection was just really mind-blowing. What are some other special collections we have? Other unique things that the Academy Herbarium has that is a little special compared to other institutions?
Lewis and Clark really is a highlight for a lot of people. We get people who are downright emotional going through and looking at the Lewis and Clark collection. It's neat to be so close to a piece of history. And it's also just an incredible collection from a scientific perspective because of the information it has with it. But really, if you just start poking through any cabinet, we describe it, I think, as basically a who's who of early American botany. And seeing all these, for me, like I'm familiar with the names from graduate school and things of some of these major botanists. And as you're going through and just, randomly filing specimens away, and you pull out a specimen, it's like, oh, this was from Asa Gray, the, Harvard botanist who was corresponding with Darwin, huge name in North American botany. Pretty much anything you open has that sort of wow factor for it. And then in addition, we've just got some really interesting and quirky collections. One of my favorites is there's a fungal collection. It used to be called Cordyceps. Now it's Ophiocordyceps. But it's the zombie fungus, and it takes over the bodies of insects and then sort of marches them into a position where they're available to disperse farther. Like it'll march them up to a leaf and then hang them from it, and then burst out of their heads, the fruiting body, and release its spores so it can infect other bugs. And then we also have this giant called coco de mer, or sea coconut, from the Seychelles Islands, and it looks like a butt. And it's called.
I have seen this.
The butt nut, and it's always a favorite of. It's like any age favorite, any group you take through the herbarium, you got to pull out the sea coconut.
Well, Jordan, I have a few questions that, in addition to the ones I just asked you. But these questions are really meant to peer deep into your soul.
That sounds horrifying. Fire away.
Okay. What is your favorite word?
Dappled.
How about your least favorite word?
Leveraged. or leverage when used as a verb.
What excites you creatively or emotionally?
I'm a big like music listener while I work.
What turns you off?
Showboating, self-promotion.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Well, I think I'd be terrible at it, but I've always thought it would be really neat to be a chef.
What profession would you not like to do?
I think I would really hate being in HR. And no offense to any hardworking HR people.
If you could be another animal or plant for a day, what would you be?
I'd like to be something like really huge, like either like a whale or a redwood tree.
You're tall enough the way it is, but okay.
I am taller than the average human, but that's not enough. I need bigger.
What is your motto?
This too shall pass. But that was my grandmother's motto, and I think it's a good one. And I think it applies nicely even when things are going really well. It like encourages you to take stock of all your blessings and be happy in the moment.
What is the most wondrous thing in the natural world to you?
Diversity. The amount of diversity, it's never ending, it seems. And then the immensity of the natural world. I mean, if you just think about trying to wrap your head around the complexity and the diversity of just our one little planet, and the amount of time that it's been in the universe, and just how long, 4.5 billion years is, and how much has happened. And then you start expanding out, saying there could be how many of our little planets out there. I think you can't help but, you can't help but be moved and humbled.
If someone who's listening or watching today is interested in getting involved at the herbarium at the Academy, what can they do?
With these digitization projects, we have all of the imaging has been done. And so you can go online to our data portal and find all of the images of these things. And what we need is for people to look at the images and transcribe the label information into searchable data fields. And so you can do that from anywhere. You just need an internet connection and a computer. And so they could get involved right now if they wanted to email me. And then when we're back actually in the building, we're always looking for dedicated volunteers to help with mounting plant specimens. There's an enormous amount of just day-to-day work that it's too much for just me.
Take it from me, starting at the Academy as a botany volunteer is a pretty good way to get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Jordan. It was awesome talking to you.
Hey, you too. Thanks so much.